tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Reign after show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Slowly but surely, the music builds, it swells.
Yes!
It's the missing component of one of the greater shows on television.
It's one of the best. It's one of my favorite, at least. So that's all that really matters. And
yours too, apparently.
Yeah.
Meaning you, the fan.
Yes, and the fans that are out there.
That is the voice of Keetin, Marchi.
Hi guys, I'm back. I know this season's been rough for me, or the first half of the season's been rough for me, but I promise I will get better. I will be better next half of the season. But
Less weddings.
Less weddings. My friends need to stop getting married. It just needs to stop.
And we always apparently keep doing a switcheroo. You and Alina keep switching on and off.
I've never met this girl. I don't even know who she is.
She's a wonderful lady.
I'm sure, yeah. I look forward to meeting her.
Well, you're wonderful as well, and I tell her that as well. And one day the two shall meet, and we will have.
Then we'll kick you off the panel.
Then
we'll have full like mutiny within the chat room. I feel like.
Anyway, in a couple of moments, we've got a wonderful guest. You guys may know him as Don Carlos from CW's The Reign. So that's something to look forward to.
Mr. Grey from French Court.
That's right.
Move over, Narcisse. We got a kinkier guy in town.
I feel like Narcisse might have to come in on this one. So we'll kind of talk about that storyline. But first, when he calls in, we'll probably jump around a little bit. But let's start with Greer and Leith. It's a quick one. It gets it out of the way. And first and foremost, she's got a baby bump.
Baby bump! And this is the thing. They barely even showed it to us. I would have missed it if I would have blinked or just kind of turned the other way and eat a potato chip or something. I would have missed the fact that she is preggers. And technically, the only person who can really be the dad is the pirate guy.
Yes, I guess. Yeah.
Is that what I'm supposed to believe? I don't know. You guys in the chat room, let us know what you guys think. But that's just what I want Leith to be the daddy. But I know he's not because I don't think they've.
I think she needs to reconcile with him fast so she could convince him that it's his.
But no, she's the moment they if they try to do it now and she tried to fake it, she is full showing she's screwed. Mm. I don't know who it belongs to though.
Well, I mean, the only guy that makes sense is because they both talked about their people that they're sleeping with. So she mentioned the pirate. So, it's not only obviously is it great for the argument, but it's a nice callback for the audience of who the dad might be.
Ugh. I just feel so bad for Greer. She's just I know, I liked to see that moment in tonight's episode when Leith was are you happy? The whole are you happy thing, let's talk as friends, whatever. And she's yeah, I like running my shop. I'm honestly just happy I'm alive, which is kind of sad, but at least, she's still
well, especially
clear.
now. I mean, she thought she got attacked. God. So she is happy to be alive.
Yes, which I'm glad they didn't kill her because she's and I want to see more of Greer. I feel like we've not seen very much of her at all this season, and she's always kind of been one of my favorite characters. So it kind of makes me sad because she's awesome.
She is awesome. There's just there's just always a lot going on. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they chose this episode of all episodes to kind of start getting them back together. Mm-hmm. Although I do like Leith and Princess Claude.
I do too. I know that was huge last week's episode, and I just.
But notice what they're doing. They're never putting them together in an episode.
Yeah.
Meaning, not meaning print. Although technically, I guess you could say they never put Greer and the princess both together. But it's more about Leith and who he interacts with.
Yeah.
It's always on per episode basis, either he's just talking with Greer or he's talking with the princess. Never in one episode has he spoken with both.
I did think it was very interesting. We didn't see Claude at all. Like, even in the horse and the hare like game, or the horse and the hare, the Hound
and the Hare,
and the Hare game,
which is the title of the episode.
That's right up Claude's alley. Like, Claude loves that stuff, especially if she gets to be the one chasing. And so the fact that we didn't even see her then, the actors must have like a contract, and she's working on something else right now.
All right. Well, I'm being told that we have a very special caller on the line, and Keetin, would you like to do the honor of introductions?
I would like to do that. I mean, you guys know him as Don Carlos from the most recent couple episodes of Reign. But Mark, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can hear me?
I can hear you, Mark. So, Mark, I don't want to like butcher your last name, so please tell me how to say your last name so I can give you a proper introduction.
It's Ghanime.
Ghanime. What is your heritage?
My father is Lebanese and my mom is Canadian.
Awesome.
So I'm a
Mark
bit of a mix.
Ghanime. That's an awesome name. Well, welcome to the show, Mark. Thank you for
very
calling
much.
in.
Good to be back. I spent some time on your show during the run on Helix when we had that show going for a couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So I
right.
got to meet some of the great group down there. It's been fun. So I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, and so have you been in studio before?
Yes, I have both for both of my
awesome.
sessions. Yeah.
Awesome. But now you're living back in Canada, I assume.
Yeah, correct. I'm on the East Coast right now. It's 1:20 in the morning. I'm in Montreal.
Thank you you don't have an early call time tomorrow, right?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good. I would feel really, really bad. So I think the first question I really need to ask you is, when you auditioned for this part, did they kind of give you a heads up? Hey, you're basically auditioning for Christian Grey in, France, or in, the French court, Christian Grey.
Well, there was one scene that was sort of standard fare, basically talking to, I think it was actually Mary that they had written in, but it was sort of my scenes that I did with Queen Elizabeth in episode 4, where I'm basically asking her to show me if she's a dude. So they had that scene, and then they had another scene where I was kind of hinting at my choices in the bedroom, but I wasn't actually sure if that was going to play out, because when I got the part, they gave me the first episode alone, and then they said, we have you written in for some other episode, but they didn't actually give me any details. So it was sort of like I wasn't sure if the audition piece was going to actually end up playing out in the part in the end, but as you can see in Hound and Hare, it gets pretty hairy.
What was your initial reaction to when you first read the script about that and how it sort of plays out?
Oh, you mean for
this
sex
episode?
Force? I thought it was funny. I thought it was very interesting. It was sort of something, I think, a little bit different for the show, and I was excited to do something kind of different like that, coming from a character where my last character where he plays kind of a mercenary and a killer and all that. But this one was going to be just a totally big departure from that. I was also concerned that I didn't want it to kind of play off as silly or campy or anything like that. I wanted him to be real, just a guy that happens to like pain during sex. So that was one of my concerns, but I was really, really impressed with the way they wrote it, and our showrunner is right on top of things and fantastic. So,
did you guys have? So speaking of the campiness, did you guys have any sort of discussions whether Mary and Catherine or the director of this episode, like what was the discussion based around that? Especially, I mean, if you look at it, this is the mid-season finale, and this is pretty much the last scene we're left with. So it's a huge cliffhanger. So I imagine a lot of thought went into it.
Well, when I spoke with our showrunner, I had mentioned how I sort of wanted to see it play out, and she actually echoed exactly the same thing. And I wanted to just take it as it was on the page. Was more, he's a guy that just has a different taste, and I didn't want it to become too silly. And Ann Wheeler, who directed that episode, she's fantastic, and I've been looking forward to working with her for years, ever since I kind of started training as an actor. And we talked about it as well, and we were all sort of in line with the same idea. We didn't want it to seem silly. There are some moments, as you saw in the room with Mary and Catherine, where they're sort of sharing looks, and they're both kind of like awkward, and Mary's super awkward, and so that was funny, but I didn't want it to be stupid or silly, and so I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I think.
I mean, you're in a room shooting a scene with, I feel like two amazing actresses, and you're shooting kind of this type of scene. What was that day like on set for you with those two in the room, and kind of like you guys working through a scene that could be really awkward? I mean, obviously you three are super professionals and stuff, and you're all three great actors, but what is a day like that like?
Well, I mean, you sort of, that's just it, right? We are all professionals, but at the same time, it's pretty interesting and big material. It was a closed set, so it wasn't the full crew as you would have on any regular other shots that they're doing on the show. So it was more of an intimate situation, and everyone just took it very seriously. Catherine especially, because Megan Follows was actually whipping me, and she was really concerned about not whipping me too hard, and so we had some discussions on safety and what I could take, or what I figured was enough for what we were shooting. And no, it was honestly, it was a lot of fun. The whole crew was kind of looking forward to seeing how this was going to play out, so everyone was kind of like, I wonder how this is going to go, with our, like I called it, I think on Twitter, the medieval Bowflex.
That is what it looked like. Oh my god, that is exactly what it looked like.
yeah no, it was fun. I mean, it was it's definitely not something I expected to be doing. If you would have asked me 6 months ago, would I be strapped to a chair and being flogged by Megan Follows? Wasn't, that wouldn't have been on my bucket list at that point. But no, it was great. I mean, we had some interaction. Even when I went in to do some of the inserts and some pickup shots and stuff, we had one of our EPs playing along, and he was like showing one of the people how to whip and how hard, and I was like, oh, am I getting payback? Like, are you whipping me hard for any of the stuff that I've done on set? And it was a pretty fun laugh, and everyone's pretty great on that show. The cast, the crew, production was quite amazing. Yeah. So I was very fortunate to be put into that circumstance, even though it could have been super awkward. Yeah.
I imagine. Let me ask this: do you interact with fans a lot? I mean, the show airs Friday. We do this on Sunday. So in that time, have you kind of been able to catch up on some of the comments, the reactions to this? Because as I mentioned,
absolutely. I think in this day and age, when you're on television or in film, on television especially, because it airs every week and it's only a set time, and you can kind of do the live tweeting. I think it's sort of part of our duty now in social media to interact with the fans and keep the interest going and generate buzz. And I was really stoked to be part of the show. And I actually auditioned back for the pilot way back in the day, for the King, for Megan Follows' husband, actually. But that went a different way. And so I was really excited to be back on to have an opportunity on the show. And, I like keeping up with the fans and interacting and egging them on, sending teasers and that kind of stuff. Because, I mean, I got a good crack at it with my other show with Helix. We had some pretty interesting live tweeting every episode, and I really gotten into it, and I had a lot of fun. And I think it's the best way to bring people in and let them see that we're just guys and girls just having a blast and making some TV,
Yeah. So Christine Baker, she's in the chat right now. She wants to know, how did you like your wardrobe for the show?
Oh man, I gotta tell you, Meredith, who is our key, the main costume designer on the show, she is incredible, and everything they do is super custom for a lot of the big roles. And I came in and they had some stuff already ready for me. They had some major measurements taken before I got to the show, and they had this hand built costume for me. Every time I'd show up on set for something different, they would have little changes. They would have this idea, and it was all really, really high quality, exquisite stuff. I was really stoked to wear it. I kind of was like, I want to steal this and wear it in a Starbucks.
No, I follow the costume designer on Instagram, and everybody really should who watch this. And it's phenomenal what they do with the costumes on that show. It's so beautiful.
The details that they put into these outfits are second to none. I've never seen this kind of detail for television.
And, hearing you talk right now, you sound obviously very different than your character did on the show. You don't have an accent. No. And I've never asked anybody who we've had on the show about this. When you go into this role, like, what do you guys talk about accent-wise? Because obviously you're supposed to be the Spanish prince, but you don't
speaking English, of course.
Speaking English, of course.
In France,
and not having a Spanish accent. Is that a discussion you have? Like, what was that like, and kind of what is kind of the rule in the Reign world when it comes to accents?
In the Reign world, it's pretty much everyone does the British RP received pronunciation accent, to each one's best ability. If they are from the UK, it's quite nice. But I spoke with our showrunner about that, and I asked her if she wanted to do any kind of Spanish touch to the British accent, because I know they wanted me to speak in a British accent. And she said you could, as long as it doesn't get in the way. And I worked with it for a while. I have a dialect coach. I just found that it took away from my ability to stay connected with the material to do an accent upon an accent.
Yeah.
So I stuck with the standard British RP, which most people on Reign kind of go for. And then there's always there's Marilla Wex, who's on Twitter. She's the sort of on-set dialect guide. And so she's always fun to run lines with in the mornings on set, and just kind of get into that voice, into that accent, and stay clear with your consonants and your vowels. But no, it was a fun challenge. It was my first time working with a British accent outside of school. Yeah.
What was let me ask you this. You've had a chance to play in a scene with pretty much most of the main women on the show. Who, if you could, would you like to play a scene on Reign with? That you haven't played one yet.
All of the leads. I mean, actually, it's funny. Alexandra Ordolis, who plays Delphine on Reign.
Yeah.
She's actually I actually killed her in my other show. So we had a fun laugh when I saw her on set one day. So that would be fun actually to do some scenes with her and have like a revival of our relationship on a different show, which was kind of would have been neat. But it was nice. I mean, obviously working with Adelaide and Megan and Rachel, it was great. And Torrance, I've known from Vancouver, from the acting world out in Vancouver. So it would have been nice to have some scenes with him. But we'll see what happens.
Well, because technically you're not dead.
Technically, I'm not dead. Technically, I staggered off in a bloody mess.
Yeah, that was pretty horrifying too, and to the point where I'm like, I don't know how Queen Catherine and Mary are gonna get out of this. Like, really.
I mean,
you know what? and you know what? They should pay. They should pay.
Oh, can you?
It was funny though. Speaking of that bloody mess, when I had to go and get changed and cleaned up after that scene, it was the end. It was the last shot of the day, and I ended up back at the trailer, and I was like, I kind of need to take a shower, because it was literally liters of blood that were just kind of poured over me and stuff for this shot. And I usually leave. I pride myself on leaving my trailer in a good shot, in a good condition. I bring my costume back to the costume trailer every time. I'm pretty good with that sort of stuff. There was nothing I could do to keep that bathroom without looking like something out of Dexter. Like, it was fake blood everywhere. It was,
I hope you took a picture.
Quite the experience. I actually took the shower with the leather pants that I was wearing, just to kind of get it all off that first. It was a total disaster. It was kind of fun.
What kind of blood did they use? Was it like the stuff that actually tasted somewhat decent, or was it just like the nasty fake blood?
The fake blood that kind of went around my face was the corn, I guess the corn syrup based stuff, but the rest of it, I don't know. I didn't really taste it. I literally, like I said, I had liters. Like, the guy would stand there with a sponge full of it and squeeze it and just push it on the back of my neck and just let it drip down my back before each take. And so I'm not sure what that tasted like. I don't really want to try.
Well, and they had like something because you had like something still sticking out of you, right?
Yeah. A piece of the
The sex chair.
Bowflex.
Yeah, the Bowflex.
The coitus. Actually, some of them were calling it the coitus pony.
Oh my gosh.
With the coitus pony, did you? How many takes did that take to bust out? Because I imagine, I mean, they didn't have too many of those built. So
no, well, the breakaway arm from the stunt portion. I had a few cracks at it for different angles and just different tries to make sure that we got it. It's a, you film a portion of it, and then there's the stunt, because there's like an actual stunt guy involved where he had to flip back with the whole chair and smash and land on his back. So there's just trying to match that and get all that kind of tied in together nicely. But no, it was really well done. The breakaway piece was perfectly balanced. Like, it was firm enough for me to actually have to put effort to break it, but not so much that I had to take like three shots at it and look like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you give us any kind of like clues as to what is going to happen? I mean, you were the cliffhanger of the mid-season finale. Is there anything you can tell us, or just throw out there?
Well, I'm not sure if there's too much I can tell you, but if you look closely, you might find some preview trailers to the episode coming up. You might be able to sneak a few peeks and see where my character's at. Mm-hmm. But I can't give you anything else other than that. And we gotta leave it in true cliffhanger fashion. You gotta wait till January 8th, like everyone else, including me.
So Don Carlos, is he a real person in history? I think he is, right?
He is.
Yeah. Did you look up his story and kind of his history?
I did, and he's a creepy son of a.
It's okay. It's past 11. You can say it.
He is a creepy son of a bitch, and I'm really glad that they decided to CW up this character and make him less disgusting and more about his own. Like, he had his own desires. It wasn't like putting it on other people or treating like this. I mean, the real Don Carlos treated women horribly, and he was like disfigured, and he had some major mental instabilities. So, I didn't want to go that way, and I'm really glad that they wrote it the way they did.
You were just very charming. You just liked pain a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's just like Christian Grey of the 16th century.
You were literally Christian Grey. Did you audition for Christian Grey by chance? Yeah, I did. Well, you kind of have the look, so I literally was asked. I asked Steven that when I found out you were coming on. I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if he did audition for Christian Grey. But
I got an audition request from my team in LA, and I looked, and I was in Canada at that point, so I wasn't down in LA for any auditions. But the script was very, very under wraps, and it wasn't even an actual side from the movie. It was just something very obscure, just to try and get what they wanted to see out of the auditioners, like what kind of character they could pull from them. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting, to say the least. I still haven't seen the movie though.
Don't worry, I haven't either. So
I was dragged to it. I've never read the book, but I was dragged to it on my birthday. I don't.
Here's what I have to say, and it's not necessarily a question, but it's something that maybe you can kind of comment on. What I like about your introduction, Don Carlos, is obviously there's a historical element, but it works really nicely, at post Francis's death, to kind of introduce you, because obviously Mary's not necessarily ready to move on, and we as an audience, I don't think, are ready to move on from Francis either. And so by introducing you in the creepiest of ways, it kind of keeps Mary still vulnerable to us, and I think it works really nicely. And so I commend the writing for that. And again, it's not necessarily a question, but if you want to comment on that, feel free.
Yeah, that is something. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it a little bit. It is interesting. There's in TV writing, you can't mess with the fans sometimes, and they have a huge love for, I guess it's Frary. Is that how they call it? They call it
Frary. Yes, Frary.
On the show.
Yes.
And I didn't want to just be another one. And as you could see in the beginning of that episode where we're walking through the woods, and I'm talking about how she feels and how she's embarrassed because she's with me and she doesn't want to be seen as somebody who's moved on too fast after Francis's death. I don't think he wants that either. He likes her and he wanted to just do it respectfully, and he knows that it's also it's love or whatever that would be back then so quickly, but it was also a bit of business in the sense that he knew that her country needed the help and he really liked her, so it was kind of a marriage of in both ways, business and in life and love. So. The way that it turned so quickly, I think is good for the viewers. I think it gives them something to go, oh, well, here's a new character to glom onto, but we don't have to worry. It's not going to screw with our memory of Frere.
But see, this is the thing. I commend you, Mark, because I think, like, I was going to root for them. Like, I literally was, because even after he was like, yeah, I'm kind of into this creepy, like, sex stuff, but I was like, you know what, Mary, just try it out. Like, he seems like a nice enough guy that you guys had great chemistry, but you were still very charming, and you were never mean about like what you were into, and you're like, hey, this is who I am, this is what it was. Just, you never seemed creepy to me, even with that creepy thing. So I
worry for you,
like
Keetin.
No, but
I worry for your personal health.
No, but I commend him, because I feel like that's what he was trying to do with the characters. Like, this is just something that is a part of who he is, but he doesn't make him a bad person.
No, I have 100% agree with that. For me, if I'm to comment on it, I was curious to see if they would show kind of you coming into court, because it would have been a nice dichotomy from when you saw Elizabeth and how your one-liners. I mean, this is. I know we're not in the medieval times. I still call it medieval, but these are like medieval pickup lines. And I was wondering what you would do with Mary, you know, when you first saw her. And obviously we didn't get that, but we got this instead, which is great.
Well, and I think, I mean, you see when he talks about the Hound and the Hare game. And then he talks to her and he says to her stuff like, no, I wouldn't be chasing you, you'd be chasing me. And it's kind of like, and she's like, what? And he was like, well, you know, if I catch you, you'll see, or if you catch me, you'll see what I mean. So I think that was his way of flirting, and, you know, for however weird it was, I think it fit for the time, and it fits for the show. And I don't think he really got a chance to court her or flirt with her as much, because she found his stuff and held it and was going to snoop around, and he had to catch her. So it kind of all came to an end, the courting. It was more like, bam, okay, now I have to tell you my truth, and here it is. It's a Bowflex, you know.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hashtag Bowflex, at Bowflex, send me one.
Yeah, Bowflex, you better get this guy now. Like, he's literally.
Do they still make them? I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway,
yeah. Like
so I think that's what it was. It was just trying to, you know, keep this character truthful. I mean, doesn't have to be a creepy bastard. He doesn't have to be the suave guy only. He doesn't have to be so, you know, one layered. So I like how they allowed me to play with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to keep you up too much later, but what other projects or things? Obviously, we think you're still alive. I'm going to go watch the Canadian trailer, because everybody on the chat room is like, go watch the Canadian preview for next time or when it comes back, because I feel like we're going to get more answers. But what other projects do you have coming up? Anything exciting that you're allowed to talk about?
Yeah, I've got, well, I just, my first episode of Quantico just aired tonight on ABC.
Oh, congratulations. That show's doing awesome.
Yeah, that's a great show. So I had a quick turn on that, on an episode there, and I'm waiting to see what happens with my character on that. And then there is a new horror / murder mystery / slasher. Slasher. It's a mini series that comes out. It's on Chiller in the States, and it comes out on Super Channel in Canada, and that's in March. So I play a character that I can't talk about, because it's all very a whodunit kind of show. So that's kind of cool, and yeah, and I'm working on a sci-fi short film up in Canada that I'm really excited about, and yeah, lots of projects. And then I'll be down in LA in January. And
awesome. Yeah. Well, if you're down in LA in January and you're still alive on Reign, do you want to come in studio if you have time?
I would love to. It would be great to be back in there.
That would be awesome.
Well, we're in a new location, so I don't know if you went to the new one. But obviously you're welcome
I went
to
to a
see.
location pretty far out. Where is this new one?
I don't know if it's far out, but it's in North Hollywood now. We moved.
Okay, yeah, I haven't been to that one. I haven't been to that location. I don't want to divulge where you are.
Yeah,
Don't tell him where we are.
I know exactly what you're talking about. So.
Right.
So where can we follow you kind of on social media, online? Do you have a website? How can we support you and what you're doing?
I've got I'm at Mark Ghanime on Twitter. I've got a Facebook fan page that's run by a colleague of mine that I haven't really updated. I should probably spend some time doing that, but mostly on Twitter at Mark Ghanime. That's where I spend most of my time.
Awesome. Do you have an Instagram?
I do not. No.
Did you take a picture of the bloody bathtub?
I took a picture of myself all bloody with my and I have it's not really postable though. It's kind of gross.
Oh, okay. Well then, never mind. Sorry guys, false advertisement here. Anyways, thank you so much, Mark, for taking the time to talk with us and staying up so late. We really appreciate it, and we hope you stay alive on Reign, and we hope we can see you in studio in January.
Yeah, we'll tune in January 8th, and let's hope Donnie C makes a comeback.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot for having me again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Wonderful talking to you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was
He's
good.
Awesome.
That was very cool.
I wish he was in studio. He's such a
We'll get him in
sweetheart.
studio. We'll get him in.
I hope he's alive.
Here's the thing. I think I'm glad we got to talk about. Obviously, it was great to get the behind the scenes stuff. It's always great, and obviously we all look forward to that. But I like his take on the story as well. And I do go back to what I said in this scenario, right? It kind of, for all purposes, it kills the relationship between Mary and him. Because if he's not pissed off after this, I would be so surprised at him, like, hey, Mary, you know what? Although he could be, if he's that demented and sick, he'd be like, Mary, that was the greatest experience of my life.
He said he liked pain. I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see what he likes. But I think this is also a way, if he does survive this, for them to work in who the real Don Carlos is, and make it be because of his injury to the head. Like maybe, I mean, everyone's seen these stories of people who had like traumatic brain injuries and head injuries back in the day, and somehow miraculously survived, but their personalities were changed, and it was before people really knew much about brain and anatomy and how everything worked. So that's how I could see him living. It could throw like a whole scientific and medical wrench into the show, as well as how is Catherine and Mary gonna deal with this guy who people don't know if he's like fully sane or not.
I think it's two-sided, right? To a degree, Mary and Catherine are in a peril, but at the same time, they have an ability to blackmail him because his father's, would disown him.
Yeah.
But
they were participating in it.
Yeah, but again, they're all very clever, and so it depends how they spin it.
Well, but that's the thing. There's a witness there right away. Like Don Carlos literally falls into like another person, like a guard, as he is like escaping the room. So
the guard is a French guard.
I don't know if he was a French guard.
Well, but again, there's that element of where Mary and Catherine could, hold hostage the guard and say, hey, you tell anyone anything, and then now they've got Don Carlos in their back pocket. Again, there's multiple scenarios, or Don Carlos just completely flips out, doesn't care, and he holds them very accountable in whatever way that is.
I don't know. Is there anything else from this episode? We lost the Bash storyline.
Yeah, we talked about Greer and Lath. So let's talk about, and then we definitely have to talk Narcisse.
Oh my god!
You can't miss that. But let's start with Delphine and Bash.
Yeah.
The two of them, lovely morning in bed together. Bash putting on his pants.
I know. I mean, I love me some shirtless Bash and shirtless Torrance Combs. Like, I love it.
Do we like them together?
No, I don't like her. I don't like her one bit, and I miss Kenna. And that's me saying I miss Kenna.
There's nothing wrong with Kenna.
I don't know. I just want something more for Bash. Like, he used to, like, and he still is one of my favorite characters, but I feel like he's just like a side, like an afterthought to the writers, and that really bugs me because he is such a cool character. They can literally do anything with him that they want to because he's not a real historical character. I mean, I know CW takes like as many liberties as they want to anyway with historical characters, but he can literally go anywhere and be anything and do anything.
Well, right
and I
now,
want him to be more important.
Right now, he's basically like the through line for any of the storylines that need to intercross, right? I mean, that's how we got Lath and Greer together. So, but obviously at the same time, he has his own storyline. It's going to be interesting, you know, with Delphine and this killer. I don't know. I guess... Not that I don't trust it, but it seems unclear where the storyline is 100% going.
Yeah, it doesn't quite seem supernatural. It just, I don't know. I've not liked Delphine really since the beginning, and I was going to forgive her if she really truly saved Francis, but Francis ended up dying anyway. We all know what's going to happen.
Not her fault.
It was actually Mary's fault for wanting to go into the woods. Sorry. I know people are going to be like, no, it's not Mary's fault. But... I don't know. I want somebody more interesting for Bash. I want Bash. I want to see Bash with somebody like almost like Claude. Like I know that's his. No, I don't want to see him with Claude because that's technically his sister. But like I need somebody that's a little sassier. That's not just like I don't know. That's how.
When do you think they're gonna get the killer?
I hope so. I mean, this is the thing. It's like how long are you gonna show me like talk about this hooded creature that we barely see? And like make me scared about him. That's like I need to feel more fear. I was more freaked out from Don Carlos than I was from this killer in this episode. So,
although they did play it very well in terms of their execution of how. Again, because these things, anytime you predict something, it goes back to the Matrix quote, right? Oh, sorry, I dropped the cookies. Don't, I already told you, don't be sorry. The weirder thing is, would you have dropped them if I didn't say anything?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So something's going to happen either way. So in this scenario, right, they're supposed to hang out at the brothel to get the killer. And then, oh, he's not here, so let's just dispatch. And then here comes Greer. And then you got the drunk guy. The weirdest drunk guy I've ever seen in my life. But I thought that played out well because then she screams. Obviously, here comes Bash. And then Delphine is taken.
Yeah.
But not literally taken, but...
She is attacked and then she decides to leave because she doesn't want anybody else to get hurt. Which also makes me question Delphine. I'm like, you're creepy and I don't trust you still.
No, I think I'm past Delphine is really creepy. I
don't know.
I mean, she's creepy, but it works in this way. She's on our side. So
okay.
That I'm willing to bypass any creepiness that she may have because she works for our team.
Okay. She's on our team. Fine. Cool. You're basically like little mini Bash, though.
Fair enough.
You're wearing Team Royal Bro shirt.
That's right, I am. I wore it last week.
If you would have told me I didn't know you were wearing it, I would have worn my Team Catherine shirt.
You know what? I was like, last episode, I said to myself, you know what? All I pretty much wear is black shirts anyway. And you know what? A gracious fan made this shirt, took the time to not only make it for me, but an entire panel of all of us. So once a week for this show, why not just wear the shirt?
I'm going to bust my shirt out. I wear my shirt all the time. I wear it when I work out, go on hikes. I'm waiting for somebody to come up to me and be like, I love rain! Because I love rain. And then I'd be like, oh, did you see last week's episode? Yeah. Anyways.
And then you meet the one that
and then I meet my one true love, and it'll be great.
All right, we're running out of time.
Or I want to meet somebody who's like, I was on that show, and I'm like, oh my god, you were so yeah.
We can talk about Keaton's dating life on another time.
Should we do Castle Corner?
No,
Narcisse!
Yes.
So sorry.
We got to talk about this little Kristoff boy.
Oh God, I know. I mean,
he is just, you know what? I commend him. He just gets some.
Get it, Catherine. But Catherine gets some too. But he's a lot more pushy. But Catherine likes that.
Yes.
I feel like Catherine and Don Carlos would have been a good pair.
That's what
she likes to.
Yeah, she had no problem whipping him. Mary, come on, say something. But obviously, okay. So was this Was this narcissist plan all along to bypass her? Because here's the thing. Every time Narcissus going that route of like...
Being good?
Well, yes, being good, but more so being a decent husband. It goes the route of, oh, I despise you, Narcissus, and there's no way that you can be with Lola. And then he goes and does something like this and kind of redeems himself.
Yeah.
In the sense of Lola, not Catherine.
Yes. In the sense of Lola, yes, but he still cheated on Lola. Not okay. Second of all, I'm just curious. I can't wait to figure out, how long Narcissus has been planning this, because he would be the most amazing chess player in the world, because he literally thinks like 10 moves ahead, to the point where we can't even catch up to him. And Catherine, who's like the queen and like literally the best chess player of all, just got duped by him. She's in check right now. I doubt she's in checkmate, because you can never checkmate that woman. But she's in check.
Well, you can't checkmate a queen, only a king.
Exactly. So, but
remember that.
Props to Narcissus. I hope he does more good with this than bad. But as we know, Narcissus, and because I don't want bad stuff to happen to Lola. But I have a feeling when Mary has to decide to leave court, Lola and Greer will go with her for some reason, and I don't think Narcissus is going to go with her, and I don't think...
with Narcissus, he had that whole speech of, well, I reluctantly will take this post up until I need to, and I hope I can be a decent leader to the people of France. Really? That couldn't be more of a fake speech.
Yeah, I mean... Whatever. Narcissus is doing like what he can do, like to keep himself like ahead of Catherine. So I give him props for doing that. As long as he doesn't hurt Lola, and as long as he doesn't hurt Mary, cool, great. And because this is the thing about Narcissus though, he's always been like France's #1 fan, not Francis's #1 fan, but like anytime he was battling with Francis is because he was trying to literally fight for his country, fight for what he truly believed was the best thing for France. A lot of that also he thought was what was also best for him and his money stuff, but it was a lot of what's best for France. So he's a little bit of a radical though, like he's a little crazy.
He'll just do anything to get it done.
Yeah, but so I don't know. I'm excited to see him in this place of power. I'm excited to see what he's going to do with it, and I'm excited to see him and Catherine go at it with him in this place. But this is the thing, because he's in this place of power, I think he's going to be able to protect. I think Mary is going to be more protected than she would be almost with Catherine there, because I feel like Lola can somehow charm Narcissus to do things for Mary, where Catherine, if she got a bad taste in her mouth with Mary, would flip on her like that. Where I don't think Narcissus is going to flip on Lola.
I don't think he's going to flip on Lola, but at the same time, there's that distance growing where Narcissus goes off to work, then he comes home, hey, honey, how you doing? And
kind of like the Kenna,
hey, Narcissus, how's work?
Situation, yeah.
And he's like, work is work. Yeah. And that's the end of that.
Yeah.
So I don't think he just like when he cheated on her, I had a really hard day at work today. Like, true, you were hard at work. But yeah, so there's a lot of mistruths or half-truths.
I don't know.
Anyway, that's pretty much it.
That is it.
Alrighty, so Castle Corner today, brought to you by Keetin Marchi.
Phil, do you want to tell them what you make me do every week? Just give an intro to Castle Corner.
So Castle Corner, you guys know it, you guys love it. We kind of do a profile of a castle every single week, and today we figured we'd go to Spain. Now, as I looked into this, Spain by far has the best castles in the entire European continent.
Well, and this is why, because Spain had a ton of money for a very long time. They were like freaking ruling it. Nobody was going to touch Spain. Nobody wanted to fight Spain because they had the best navy. Nobody wanted to mess with them at all.
Well, so now we're going to... So I was going down the top 10 list, and I started with number 10. I was like, holy moly. And then I got to number 1. So today we're doing the number 1 voted castle of Spain, which is
Okay, well, this is a fun cold read for me, everybody, just like every week. This is Castle Alhambra. Alhambra is a palace and fortress complex located in Granada, Andalusia, Spain. It was originally constructed as a small fortress in 889, and then largely ignored until its ruins were renovated and rebuilt in the mid-13th century by the Moorish Emirate of Granada, who built its current palace and walls. It was converted into a royal palace in 1333 by Yusuf I, Sultan of Granada. Who knew they had sultans in Spain?
That's what I'm saying.
Alhambra's Islamic palaces, as we know them today, were built for the last Muslim emirs in Spain. I don't think that's the right way to pronounce that. And the court of the Nasrid dynasty. After the conquest of Granada by the Catholic monarchs in 1492, some portions were used by Christian rulers. The Palace of Charles V, built by Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor, in 1527, was inserted into the Alhambra with the Nasrid fortifications. After being allowed to fall into despair for centuries, the buildings being occupied by squatters, Alhambra was rediscovered in the 19th century by European scholars and travelers, with restorations commencing. It is now one of Spain's major tourist attractions, exhibiting the country's most significant and well-known Islamic architecture. Together with 16th century and later Christian building and garden interversions, Alhambra is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and the inspiration for many songs and stories.
Look at this thing.
Can we go through the pictures again, because I was reading and I missed them?
Look at this thing.
Beautiful.
This thing is...
Oh my gosh!
This thing has room upon room of just beauty. Like, look at that. And it almost has like town squares in the middle of it. Like, it's not just a courtyard. It is like a town square. Look at that.
How does this get lost? That's what I want to know. How does this get lost and all of a sudden squatters are living in it? This place is huge.
You know, there's a big homeless population in castles, apparently. Look at that.
That's stunning.
So there's the town square. There's like
the bathroom.
Yeah, probably.
That was like the bathhouse.
For the maids.
Whoa, is that it now? Like it has like couches and stuff? Who lives there?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And there's the gardens.
It's gigantic.
There's like a maze portion to the gardens too. So
I love it. I'm such a big castle fan. I'm gonna get married in a castle. That could be on my list. What if you can get married there?
You know what? I'm sure.
I like kind
if
of the
squatters can live there, you can
get married there. No, I wonder. I love the kind of like the clash and the mix of the different cultures and religions. I think that's so fascinating over the centuries, how those different things were kind of built into it. Yeah. Good castle, Phil. And in honor of Don Carlos, in honor of Mark. It's a Spanish castle, so...
Don Carlos has something to be proud of.
He does. I'm sure the real Don Carlos somewhat knew of that, because that's... well, let's see. Yeah, in like the 1500s, it was there.
It was on, it was on the list, the punch list of things to do.
Yeah, I think so.
Alrighty, so let's end with predictions. The last predictions of 2015 for Reign.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
We didn't get much in the little preview that I saw.
Christine Baker goes, good choice, Keetin. It's actually Phil chose the castle. But thank you.
Good reading.
I think, I haven't seen the Canadian previews, but I feel like from what I've seen on the chat, from talking with Mark, and just from knowing Reign, I feel like Don Carlos is alive. I feel like they're going to use this head injury as him going a little crazy, and I feel like obviously it's going to be that's going to be now the focus. Instead of getting Mary wed, it's now going to be focused on getting this crazy, like, first of all...
Well, also Gideon, it's going to be interesting how Gideon plays into this, because he's kind of, by order of Elizabeth, courting Mary.
Yeah, which, we didn't even talk about him, but yeah...
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it in now, so...
But this is... And the thing with Gideon, like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know why they... I just don't see him and Mary ever. They have no chemistry. I'm like, I don't see it happening.
Well, because he's literally trying to force himself upon her.
I know.
The whole... nothing will be the same. Don't worry, everything will be recorded. By the way, you're sexy and beautiful. Do not write that.
Ugh. God, gag me. Anyways, I think he's gonna have a lot harder time. I think.
But he swept her off her feet, literally.
And she was like, "What are you doing? Don't touch me." But yeah, no, I think Don Carlos is alive. I think Narcisse is actually gonna do good at his job, and I think Gideon is going to struggle, and I think Bash is gonna find a new lover, and I think Lath is gonna want to help Greer now, especially because she's pregnant. He's gonna feel obligated
is she gonna get
to
married or something?
No, he's gonna. Yeah,
Lath's gonna punch his lights out if that happens.
No, he's gonna reel her. He's gonna feel like he needs to save her and help her even more now that when she finds out she's pregnant.
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna get married or something.
I can't
and
wait.
then Lath's gonna punch him
They're
out.
gonna have such a beautiful wedding. What do you think, Phil? What are your predictions? I know I just.
I'm on board with you.
You're on board?
Yeah, I kind of gave my predictions throughout, and we'll see.
And it's 11:02.
There's a lot of fun stuff to look forward to. Thank you to Mark for calling in.
Yes, thank
we
you, Mark.
appreciate it. Show him some love. Follow him on Twitter. Tweet him. Let him know how much you enjoyed having him on.
So he comes back.
That's right, and that I think.
Don't you want to see him in the Bowflex here in the flesh? Like, really,
we will bring the Blowflex. Keetin, the Bowflex.
What did you just say?
What did I just say?
You said Blowflex. I was like, whoa.
Well, originally I thought.
Things.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. We should. I didn't know.
Don't tell people we're talking about that later. We're gonna ignore that was ever said.
The things that went through my mind of what this thing did. Let's just keep it at that.
Oh God, Phil, where can they find you?
You know what? Here at AFTERBUZZ TV in 2016 for another Reign after show.
And you guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Keetin Marchi.
We'll see you in 2016 for another episode.
Happy New
Bye.
Year.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.